Hello mga kaBEEPs, this is Gary.
Hello mga kaBEEPs, this is Apple.
Hi mga kaBEEPs, this is Lucas.
Hello mga kaBEEPs, this is Tess.
Hello mga kaBEEPs, this is Francis.
Hello, kaBEEPs. This is Luke.
And
And
welcome to BPO Live!
Hey.
That's better. That's better compared
Yes,
earlier.
this is much better than earlier. Francis, do your magic.
It's a full house tonight.
Yes! Love it!
House. You feel on the house.
Yep, welcome back, Mommy Tess. Hello. And we have a guest today.
Yes, we are so honored to have an honored guest. Now, we have all worked with this guy. He is currently based in Cebu, but there was this one point in his career wherein our company flew him all the way to Alabang to train us, to be part of the team. And we have all grown to love this guy. He is British and he has worked in different countries and is very culturally diverse. That's why we chose him to be part of, the team for tonight, because he is our go-to person for anything training, anything culture, anything communication, anything business. And I'd like to introduce you guys to Mr. Luke Maclean. Hi, Luke.
Hi.
Luke.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Welcome.
It's so
Thank you.
He sounds very British, guys.
And it's so nice to see you again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
the
Yeah.
honorable
No,
guest.
it's like a bit of a reunion right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
When did we first meet Luke? Was it 2017 or 2016? I forgot. I remember I have a picture of Luke. Francis, I'll send you a picture of me and Luke when he was in Alabang.
A look back for Luke.
Yeah, so Luke, I'll look
Yeah.
back. I think that's 2017. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was 2017.
Around that time, no, you were tasked to work on a project in Alabang for one of our programs there, right?
Yeah. It was a month in total. I think it started off as a week, and then every week it got extended. So it ended up being a month. So yeah, I think there's a picture of me in the reception of the office. It was Valentine's Day, so I was hugging myself because I was on my own.
That's the picture that will insert somewhere here.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day to
Alone.
me.
No, but I remember during that time, the Valentine's Day, a lot of girls want to take a picture with Luke. But they're a bit shy.
Celebrity match.
Pretty much.
I
It
think
makes
all
me
the
blush.
girls were very thirsty. It's the first I've ever seen an AFAM, in Alabang after so many years of being
A
working
British one.
and
That's
a British
why.
one, a cute
Yeah. That's why.
cute one.
It's like it's like you're a unicorn. Luke.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Yeah.
because we're used to Americans all the time. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's that British guy?
Well,
He sounds
typically-
posh.
Well, yeah, but
yeah,
but
very cool.
here it always starts with, "Oh, are you American?" And I'll say no, and then they'll say, "Okay, so you're Australian then?" And I'll say no. So where are you from? I'm from the UK. Oh, the Queen. Yes, the Queen. That's generally the response I get most places. They'll sort of go down the roster of their English-speaking countries. Sadly, the UK seems to be towards the bottom of that list. Yeah, but that's a shared experience, I'm sure, with most Brits who live over here.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. Yeah.
So look, I think our audience would like to know what your background is, like where are you from, the kind of work that you do. Like I just said earlier, that we've all worked for you, but what specifically were you working on? What was what your degree is, and things like that. Like give us fast facts about you, so at least our audience can really wrap their heads around. Luke Maclean, stellar trainer / business, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, I can give my life story. That's not a problem. So, I guess, can tell you about my background and things like that. So yeah, so I was born in a place. It's sort of on the east side of the UK, of England specifically. It's a place called Leicester. I only spent sort of my first year of life living there, and then my parents moved to a place called Hereford. So Hereford is like a very kind of provincial kind of town. It's not it's classed as a city, but it's one of the smallest cities in the UK. And then I went to school. I did the usual things, high school. We call it secondary school. Then I went to college, which is kind of we call it sixth form college, which I think is kind of the equivalent of your like K-12, kind of that kind of 16 to 18 period. But like I was quite fortunate because I went to a separate college that was outside of my school, so you already had to drive yourself to go in. There was no attendance thing, so you learned to be punctual and turn up on time and all those things because you had to self-manage. So then when you get to university, you're kind of more prepared, because I guess university in the UK is very, very different to the way it's kind of run in the Philippines. So a lot of kids will look forward to university because it's a chance to get away from their parents. So, and generally you'll move out, and in the first year you'll be living in like a dorm where you share with people. I mean, you kind of see it on like some American comedies and stuff where they do those college things. Yeah, and it's kind of similar to that, but it's the kind of first time in your adult life where you really feel that you're independent and you move away from your family. So some people it doesn't work out for. 18, they're too young, they don't have that maturity, so that they go there and they find it very, very difficult, especially with the kind of self-motivation and things like that. So, and that's what happened to me. So I went to my first university. I studied marine biology. It was in a university in the kind of southwest of the UK. It's in an area called Plymouth, hence the muff, not mouth. Most people will say mouth, but it's Plymouth. So we pronounce it. And I just couldn't manage myself. So I didn't really do very well. So I left, I went home. I just got a job while I kind of figured out what I wanted to do. And then after a few years, I decided to go back. So I went to Manchester University, the opposite, which is in the northwest part of the country. And, I felt that I'd matured a bit more then. So I was able to manage my time, manage myself, and really, and I succeeded. I got a 2-1 in musical business. Was always into like media, sound, film, a lot of things. So I was fortunate enough to do that. And then, like most people experience, I can imagine it's an experience with people here, especially who work in our industry, that potentially what you study for, and you have those aspirations to do that job. When you get into the real world, you find that there aren't so many jobs in musical business that you can jump on. And I know people who have been who I work with currently, who are nurses and teachers. And I asked them why. I said, well, because, with this industry, I got more opportunity and things. So I had to go back home and work out. So I ended up literally working as a waiter at Pizza Hut, which I did for like 2 or 3 years. It was very flexible. And then I sort of got involved with the training of people. So that was kind of my first experience with kind of the training side of things, I guess. So I would train them on new products, customer experience, and that hasn't really prepared me that well for where I'm at now, because as we know, like in the food industry or F&B, the way that you deal with customers is can be more challenging at times, because you have the body language, you have that face-to-face kind of contact. So I did that, got really, really fat because all I did was eat pizza all day, but I can't complain. And then I decided to go and do a master's. So I went to do a master's in events management. I didn't complete it because at that time I was so interested in my music that I didn't really give the course the time and kind of the effort that it needed. So then, and I was very fortunate because after a couple of months of moving to London, I signed a publishing deal for the songs that I'd written with Universal Music. So and they paid me very handsomely, which meant that I didn't need to work. Wow me. If only I was still there. And as we know, it's the music industry is one of the most competitive things, in the world. As much I'm sure there's hundreds of people here in the Philippines who dream of, being off on kaBEEP and singing, and that experience. Yeah, and it's similar in the UK to get your foot in the door and achieve something in that industry. It's a 1 in a million chance. You got to be in the right place at the right time, and we were, but we just didn't take it far enough. So I had to sort of exit that kind of side of my career, and then I moved in back to food and beverage because it was where I felt kind of comfortable at the time. It was my knowledge base, it was my understanding, and I guess actually that was kind of my first interaction with your culture. So to give you context, I was general manager for a bar company with 5 or 6 bars, and then 5 or 6 restaurants. And then that was kind of my first interaction with York. So one of my managers who managed one of the bars in West London, which is kind of the Oxford Street, the big shopping district, was a guy called Day. I'm still friends with him now. So his family are from Cebu, but he's 3rd or 4th generation. He's been living in the UK. So he actually sounds more British than I do when you speak to him. He's got a real London accent. So he'll be like, "All right, mate, how's it going?" And you're like, and now, knowing the culture here now and knowing his culture, it would just look really weird. It just feel really weird when I speak to him. But yeah, and that was my experience. And he taught me a lot about that culture. So I did that for 5 or 6 years. It was very tiring. It was 50, 60-hour weeks. No weekends. You just work right through. And London, I guess, is a bit more like Manila than Cebu. Yes, sad fact. It's a bit more like Manila, where it's kind of high paced. You talk about MRT. We have the underground system. It's very crowded.
It is very fast.
Yeah, and you know what? That's my problem sometimes. I'm out here, I'll leave an air conditioned part and walk into IT Park here in Cebu, and I still walk the same pace as I do in London. 90 miles an hour, and then about 5 minutes into it, I'm like, oh my god, I'm sweating so much, it's so hot. And everyone's like, yeah, because you walk so fast, you need to just slow down and take your time. It's like, yeah, I know. So there's some of the things that I from my culture of living in London, I brought here that really don't suit the temperature and the climate. Yeah, so essentially, yeah, I did that, and I decided to move on. So there was an opportunity to go and work out in the UAE for IHG hotels, which own the Crown Plaza, the Intercontinental, and Holiday Inn. So they're a fairly big company. So I kind of started off there, sort of training for food and beverage. So obviously, as we're all aware, that's where I really started to understand Philippine culture, because of all the OFWs, as we know, who go over there and work to earn money for their families, send it home because the salary is XYZ higher. Yeah, so I started learning the culture because I was interacting with people from this country on a daily basis, and then I sort of got tired of the long hours in hotels, so I started going back to music again, very chopping, changing all the time, and started sort of DJing at the Crown Plaza, which is where I met my current partner, and she's from Cebu, which is how I ended up here. So I sort of moved east and then progressively keep moving east. I think if I go any further, I'll be in Fiji and then the US.
Yeah, I think that's the route that we're taking right now.
Yeah.
Around the world.
Yeah.
New Zealand, and then you'll be in Fiji, and then Hawaii, and then the US, and then back,
it's like
back to London again.
Yeah.
around the world in 80 jobs.
But that's a very colorful career. I don't see myself doing that well, at least not right now. But that's a very colorful career. So you got a lot of stamp in your passport. Then amazing. So as you can see, mga kaBEEP, so we have our guest here who has, like what I told you earlier, has been through numerous jobs. And it's interesting that Luke is also part of the music industry, which we don't get that a lot here. A lot of BPO professionals would normally be coming from business, business schools, but we have someone here who has been in the F&B industry, and then music, and then in the BPO industry.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you have your sort of dreams and your aspirations, and no one should sort of tell you to stop chasing them. But at some point, you have to tell yourself to stop chasing it. You have to, I guess I call it adulting. You have to make a decision, whether it's a financially viable choice. Because as we all know, as you get older, your responsibilities grow, and then you can't be financially irresponsible.
Okay, call
Yeah,
it all.
I had to call it a day.
But that's actually a good advice, actually, Luke. We have a lot of our kaBEEPs who are in their 20s or in their 30s and they don't know where they're going. So I think, and that's true, that as you grow older, you've got a lot of responsibilities. Like for you, you've got Layla. We'll insert Layla somewhere. Is that okay, Luke?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Layla is our
Aww.
Miss Universe 2030. Am I right, Luke? Wait. 2035?
Yeah.
Layla is our. She's so pretty.
Yes.
So she'll
We're gonna
be our,
train her
we will train her.
as early as now for Q&A.
Yeah.
I think we have the full roster
The
of
proud father.
coaches here for Layla.
Yes, you do. We're ready for-
I'll give her the headset now.
Yeah.
I'll take over.
So I have a question for Luke. So it's interesting that Luke had a lot of job experiences, but I'm really more interested about your music experience or working in an entertainment business side. So can you please share us who are the celebrities that you've worked with or you bump into?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess that's the thing with living in London as well. That's where the majority of the television, all the movies are being made there and screened there. So, from time to time you come across people. I'm going to name drop now, which is terrible. So yeah, I mean, like when I was running the bars, we used to host parties where people like Kate Moss would come. We supported Ed Sheeran for a few gigs in his early part of his career, and like in his early days, he was absolutely phenomenal. You saw all the potential that he had. Like he would go on and play, and then we were on afterwards, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go because he's so good. So, yeah, so we got to meet those people, and it's weird because you meet them, and the media perception and what they're actually like is very, very different. Like, for example, with like Kate Moss, she was very humble, very quiet, and I guess when you're in the spotlight so often, then you probably treasure the times where you can just be yourself and relax, because I guess people like that are constantly on their guard because of paparazzi, media, all that kind of thing. They're not allowed to make mistakes, which is kind of, I find that terrifying a little bit, to be honest, because that's part of human nature is to make mistakes, and that's how you learn. But to make a mistake and then the next day it's in a newspaper or on TV about the mistake you made must be, I don't know. I think it's a challenge. There you go, Lucas. I've done my name dropping for you.
Oh my God, Kate Moss!
Oh my God.
Yeah, lucky you.
So pretty.
Starstruck. And Ed Sheeran, he must be very, very, he must be
So I'm
fantastic.
not crazy about
Live.
Ed Sheeran, but I'm more crazy about Kate Moss. Look, I remember when you were telling me the story about Kate Moss, like how symmetrical her face is. Because you like saw her like up close, right? Because you have to hand her a drink. Am I right?
Is she really flawless?
Yeah, annoyingly so. It kind of makes you like feel a bit more conscious about yourself, because you're there going, oh my God, look at this person, and there's me with bags under my eyes, my hair's all over the place. Yeah, I had to make her a Bloody Mary, which is like basically vodka, tomato juice, Tabasco, and you kind of mix it up, and then you put like celery salt on it. So making that, I was quite nervous as well. Like, it's like I don't want to ruin this person's drink.
You're making a drink a supermodel, diba? It's
I know. And
way over the top.
it's not like any Kate Moss, right?
Yeah, and do you know what the weird thing is? It's like in your head you're going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But then like on the outside you have to be like, oh, it's nothing. I'm very cool. I'm very, very chill. But in your brain you're going, yeah. Although I gotta.
Keep it together. Keep it together. Mix the drinks.
It was a scary time. But no. I mean, she didn't take the drink back, so I guess it was all right. And she drank it, so I guess it was all right. So I would say on the drink making front, it was a success. On the cool, being suave front, probably less of a success in general. So yeah, so that's that was kind of my time in London, and had these great opportunities to meet people like that, and I guess it gives you the biggest takeaway is everyone's human. At the end of the day, yeah, you can idolize these people and look up to them or respect them or whatever, but they're really just the same as you and me. Their life is just taking a different path, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fart, they throw up.
Everything, exactly.
Everything. They are normal. But look, that's Kate Moss. Oh my God! If that were me, I would have, I would have hugged her. Hugged her, close.
You would have done
Having
great for her.
I would have done everything, anything that she asked me to do. Oh my God!
Really? Like, will you be straight?
Daria left the group.
Go.
Next time on BPO Night Live.
Tell us the first time that you've called, a call center, and then someone picked up the call and they're not from the UK. Can you still remember?
People's perception of that was like, your name isn't Michael Brown, is it? It's obviously not Michael Brown because you've got a very strong Southern Indian accent.
What I know about Boxing Day is the boxing, like Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Follow us for more BPO talks and tips on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BPO Night Live. You can watch us on our official Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. BPO Night Live is also heard as a podcast on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast listening apps.